And we are live. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
I'm assuming that it's live everywhere. Hopefully we get people starting to show up and comment, and that's so we know that we're live. Nicki's going to start today, so
We're live.
Shh.
Sorry.
No, I'm not telling you to shush. I'm going to shush. You start talking.
Oh, sorry. I said we're live.
We're nutters. For people that are only really just kind of seeing us, like we're like, yeah, nutters.
We bounce off of each other, don't we, Christine?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So our talk today is, bear with me because I'll be looking at my notes like I always do to make sure we haven't forgotten anything. But we're talking about the importance of self-care and how that can reduce anxiety and overwhelm in general and in your business. So, yeah, it's a really important subject, and we touched base on it last time we spoke as well. And this is a lot around the work that we do. It's all around well-being and mindfulness and self-care to reduce the overwhelm, stress, and anxiety in your life and in your business. So that's basically what we teach and what we talk about. So the dictionary definition of the word of the phrase self-care is it's the act of attending to one's physical and mental health, generally without medical or other professional consultation. And it also is the products or practices that we use to comfort or soothe oneself. So what this generally means, it's a way of taking care of yourself so you can be the best version of yourself that you can be. You can do that in a healthy way. You can do your job or run your business to the best of your ability. You can help and care for others, and you have all that you need during the day. So you have a win-win mindset, I suppose, in short. So there are 8 main areas. Sometimes they could be different, but we work on a basis of 8 main areas of self-care, and we'll expand on them as we go, and then I'll pass on to Christine. And during this, like, if you watch our talks, you know that we bounce off of each other, and I might be talking and then Christine will want to add something and vice versa. So, as you know, when you're working with somebody, you have your own ideas and thoughts, and things come to your mind. So it might be that Christine jumps in as well. So bear with us as well. So the 8 main areas that we focus on, there are less. You can Google all of these. They're on Google, but we use this, I suppose, this sort of areas in the work that we do, and we like expanding on them, and we see them as important parts and areas of self-care in the whole being of oneself. So the first one is physical. So we all know that physical exercise helps. We all know that it helps us feel better. It helps when we're out in the fresh air. And physical exercise doesn't have to be like running marathons or going to the gym for 5 hours and anything like that. Even though Christine is a bit of a gym buddy and she also likes running marathons, I don't like any of that. So for me, I wouldn't be doing that. I do go running, or did go running, and used to run 5K, but that's sort of stopped at the moment. And instead, I'm using the time to go walking. So anything basically that gets you moving. It could be yoga, it could be Pilates, it could be walking, it could be jogging, it could be running, it could be the gym, it could be swimming, badminton, tennis, golf, whatever you want to do that you enjoy doing. Cycling, that's a good one. Yeah, cycling. Dog walking, that's what I do. So anything that you want to do that gets you moving. So that is going to help your self-care. So remember, all of these areas are going to help you in your self-care. And when you have self-care, that helps your mindset, and it helps your mental health, and it helps your well-being. And that's why we're talking about self-care, because it is so important. And it's one of the, I suppose, the foundations of your mental and physical well-being. Wouldn't you agree, Christine?
Yeah, definitely.
So the next one is psychological. So psychological, in essence, means the quality and the consistency of our mental well-being, our mental state. So we want to make sure that we look after our mental well-being, we look after our psychological state, and we are or striving to be the best that we can be, and that means nurturing that as well. Next is the emotional. So your emotional state will have a massive impact in your self-care and your well-being. So we all get emotional at times. It's normal. We all cry and get overwhelmed and stressed and anxious at things. And like we've said before, if you've heard us speaking and you follow us, all of this is normal. But there's normal being emotional, and there's when it goes over to another side where it becomes all the time, and then maybe depression creeps into it and you're not motivated and you don't want to do anything. So there's sort of like a cut off. Being emotional is great, and we all know that we can get emotional at times when things happen, and that's normal. But we all know when we're not feeling right ourselves, if we're really honest with ourselves. And I think that's something that's important about being honest with ourselves, because we know how we are as a person, and we know that if we're over emotional, more so than what we normally are, and we're getting angry or crying or stressed or whatever, then we know that we've got to do something about it. And there's the other side of being emotional, that sometimes people, and not just people that run their business, people in general, have the opposite effect, where they avoid emotions and they're not emotional at all. They find it hard to let go. They find it hard to cry at things or get angry at things, and what happens is they bottle it up and suppress it, and then it manifests in other things, normally physical ailments. So this is something to be that helps with self-care. It's being in touch with your emotions, and that doesn't mean that you have to be crying all the time. It just means being aware of your emotions and being able to let them out and express them as well. Is there anything that you wanted to add so far, Christine?
No.
the,
To think of.
the next is social. So remember that our outer world is a representation of our inner world. So are we attracting the right people in our life, or are we holding on to someone out of a need and that we don't really want anymore? And I find this fascinating because I often look at the relationships, and social does come under relationships. I often think about the relationships that I have in my life, and think that actually my outer world is a representation of my inner world. What is going on for me inside that I'm projecting onto my outer world? What relationships, what socially am I attracting into my life? And this is something to be aware of as well. If we're attracting lots of people that bring us down and negative influences, then that's not going to help our self-care. It's not going to help our mental well-being or our physical well-being either, because our mental and physical come together really. If we're not right, I suppose, mentally with our well-being, then we're not right in our physical, because we don't want to do anything. We become lethargic. We want to curl up in a ball and go to sleep, and it has a knock-on effect with both. It's just that it's only, I'd say, I don't know in the past how many years, but I would always say that everyone, I suppose doctors and professionals, always used to concentrate on the physical well-being, didn't they, Christine? And it's only been, I would say, recently, like in the past, 5 to 10 years, something like that, that doctors and professionals are really looking at your emotional well-being and your mental well-being, because it impacts everything as well as our physical well-being as well.
I think things have just changed, haven't they? Like over the years, when you think that kind of the misconception of mental health and how people that suffered with mental health were treated. So obviously we've come a long way and things have changed, but things still need to change. It's like anything, isn't it?
Yeah, it takes time, doesn't it? And I think, like I say, there were so many, obviously, as we know, the Love Island experiences and other famous people and taking their life due to various reasons, and it just become I suppose we become as a nation more aware of it,
Yeah.
and haven't we? And I think now it's just discussed more and talked about, and even in companies, employers are looking at people's mental health more, aren't they, and mental well-being, and companies and businesses are meant to be providing more mental support, aren't they, and well-being in and it's a government guideline now, isn't it? I don't think it's
Yeah, apparently.
yeah, it
This is
is.
where we come into it, and this is why we want to get out there. So
Exactly. True. So it's really important, isn't it? So the next thing is like professional. So that's whether you're a business owner, or whether you're in an employed job, or you're a leader of a team, or whatever your professional experience is. So how do you see your business? Where do you see your business going? Have you got a balance in your business or your job or your role in your teams, whatever you do, so that you don't feel burnt out? Because we speak to so many entrepreneurs that this happens to, that they basically go and keep going, don't they, Christine? And in the end, then the anxiety and the stress and the burnout comes because they've over delivered and they haven't had time for themselves. They haven't looked after themselves. They haven't had self-care. They haven't, and he's, like I said before, and like we talked about, it has to be consistent. It's not like when, oh, I'm feeling really rubbish at the moment, so I'm going to have some self-care. What we teach is we want to be doing it consistently so we don't get to burnout. We want to try and avoid the burnout and the stress and anxiety. Obviously, like we said, it's normal to feel all of these things, but when it goes tips over to the next level, where then we can't run a business or we can't function, and only you will know how you feel, because everybody's, I suppose, limits are different. My limits will be different to Christine, and what stresses me out and makes me anxious will be different to what stresses Christine out and makes Christine anxious. And that's why knowing yourself and having self-awareness is so important, and it encompasses everything, the same as self-care does with our mental well-being. So yeah, looking at your profession, your business, make sure that you are allowing yourself to know where you are in your business and where you're going, and to have that self-care so you avoid the burnout. So if they're environmental, similar to the social aspect as well, because like I said, it's in line with our self-care. And what are we creating in our environment that supports us and energizes us? What people are we surrounding ourselves with? What does our environment look like when we're working from home, as a lot of us have been doing and maybe continue to do? What does our environment look like when we're working from home? How is that supporting our self-care? Is it all cluttered and not very appealing and makes you stressed, or is it calm and tidy and organised? And also, are we taking time to come off and relax and switch off from work? Because again, we speak to a lot of entrepreneurs that don't switch off. They're on 24/7 is a bit of an exaggeration, but they could still be working, looking at emails at 9 o'clock at night. And another thing we've heard from entrepreneurs is and not just entrepreneurs, people that are employed as well, that they're working much longer hours because they haven't got the travelling to and from work. They are working longer hours, so you're giving more in your business, you're giving more to your employer as well. But when is it having that routine and that boundaries to say, no, actually, this is when I'm finishing work and I will not be answering and looking at any emails or looking at work-based stuff? So make sure that you look at your environment as well as part of your self-care routine. Anything
it's
to add?
definitely important to have boundaries, because I think that we're so easily accessible, aren't we, with our laptops, phones, emails. Not so much, well, Yeah, I guess to an extent social media, because maybe we have people that contact us via social media if they're interested in what we offer as entrepreneurs, but maybe not so much via social media. But we do, don't we? We have our phones, we have
Yeah,
our laptops, stuff like that. That it's just easy, and it is so easily to kind of look at your emails, isn't it? And for me, I hate notifications on my phone, so I like refresh my email throughout the day anyway. Um, and yeah, I hate, so I kind of keep on top of it. So again, I might, if I've been really busy, I might be kind of catching up on my emails late at night.
yeah.
So
But you
yeah.
what because I'll go back to that because I was thinking I do the same as you. I've got my phone with me all the time. Um, Apart from when I'm seeing clients, obviously, like when we're working with people, we wouldn't be on our phone then. That'd be a bit unprofessional, wouldn't it? But anyway, my phone is with me all the time, and
Yeah.
I'm constantly refreshing things as well. So for me, and we talked about this today, didn't we? That sometimes it's easier to reply to things there and then because if you don't, then you forget, and then something else happens the next day. So I suppose it's having that awareness of either, I know you do this and I've started doing it, Christine, as well, flagging things or not actually opening the email or the message, so then it's highlighted so you know the next day it's there for you to action. I think that's a really good idea. So it's still having them boundaries. And another thing that
Yeah.
you do that I really good idea, Christine, is what do? You put do not disturb on your phone and it switches everything
So
off.
I can't speak. Yeah. So I can't speak for all phones. I am an Apple freak, if that's the right way to say it. But I've got Apple gadgets, and actually, it all syncs in. So it's really annoying because sometimes when I am still working, or I've been on a Zoom when we was doing that training, Nicki, and it was quite late in the evening, and it would come up on my phone like time to. I can't even think what it says, but on settings you can do like a I can't even think what it's called, but basically you set the time. So at 10 o'clock, my phone shuts down. So no one can contact me, call me, and no one can text me if they're not on my emergency list. And then obviously no one else can contact me via other apps because they shut down. However, if I'm not going to bed at 10 o'clock and I might be in the middle still talking to Nicki, which we tend to communicate through WhatsApp, even though she's on my emergency list because she's very privileged. Because we talk a lot through WhatsApp, like I will just think kind of you can snooze it for another 15 minutes. So yeah, I'll screenshot it and I'll share it in the group under comments because I can't think like how you do it. And some
It's,
people might already kind of know what I'm talking about and have that in place. So you have the
yeah,
do not disturb, but it's not that. It's something kind of, I think it's underneath it. And then you customize it. So you put people on your emergency list, you set the times that you want to do that, and the days if you want that every single day. So I have it set, and then, but like I said, you can kind of like interrupt the time so you
yeah.
can continue on Facebook or emails or whatever, but people cannot contact you, call you or text you if they're not on your emergency list.
I think that that's a really good idea. So maybe in your business, when you're thinking about that, that you're thinking 10 o'clock's quite late, but maybe you'd want to do it around when you finish work. So say if you finish work at 6, you might leave it for another hour or two and then switch everything off like Christine does. I think that's, do you know, I think it's a really good idea. And
Yeah,
I
you
think,
can, because obviously the people that you think and you don't mind people contacting you past like 6 o'clock or whatever, just add them to your emergency list. And like I said, you can still access your other apps, and you might be able to um select apps and stuff that you want to go off at 6 o'clock, but I don't think you can set times for different things. So if they email you and call you, don't open them. Well, you can't unlock your calls, and so no one can contact you. Which sometimes is a little bit annoying, but obviously it's not, because they'll just be on your emergency list, the people that you would allow to contact you within that time of the evening.
and also, like you say, that you can select your day. So it might be that you only do it even for self-care, even if you don't do it for 7 days a week, but even if you did it for 1 or 2 days a week, and on a certain, like say Monday and Wednesday, on them days, you know that you're not accepting any calls from anybody, beyond 7 p.m. at night unless they're on your emergency list. So you're just trying to change how you do things, and you're giving yourself more, because it's so easy, like, even though I don't do that, but I think I am going to do that actually, but it's so easy just to look at your phone. And I found I do that at silly times, like it could be 10 o'clock at night and I'm watching a telly, but then the adverts come on, and then I would just automatically pick up my phone. And it's not
They're
self-care.
habits, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. So it's
Yeah.
really thinking about how to look at our environment and how to limit things as well. So the next one is sorry.
No, I was just going to say
Oh,
Stanislava's commented, and she said that she tries to follow her routine, but sometimes it's not possible. And that's right, because I'm exactly the same.
me too.
And she just said because she has so many things to do, so that, like I was saying, when I might still be like on my laptop, or I might be just catching up on messages or emails or something, and it is like later at night because I've been busy. So
And
yeah.
then, you know what? Then I would think, like Stacey, then I would think, and for other people, because I always think, right, we've always got something to do. And when you've got a really successful business and you're really busy and you're seeing to a lot of, you've got teams working under you, or you're constantly busy, then I suppose we have to look at why, and we have to look at how we can change that. Because as well, if you're feeling stressed, or if you've got no time and you're still on your phone or social media, whatever it is, doing work stuff beyond a certain time, then maybe it's looking at how we change that. So if you're really, really busy, then like I say, even if you for one day out of the whole week decide you're not going to work past a certain time, or 2 days a week, or to employ other people to help you as well. And I know that's more easily said than done, but if it's affecting our self-care routine, if it's affecting us and we feel more stressed and we feel more anxious and overwhelmed with things, then it's taking time to change, isn't it? And what we don't want, and if we don't feel any of them things, then obviously what we're doing is working okay. But like I said before, we don't want to get to that stage where we're not doing any self-care and then we get the burnout. We want to avoid the burnout and the stress and overwhelm as much as we can before it all becomes too much. So I totally understand that people are really busy, but if it's affecting your self-care and your well-being, then maybe it's something that we look at, and if not, then that's okay. So how does your spiritual practice help your self-care routine? Have you got a spiritual practice? Do you do anything spiritual? So by that we mean things like meditating. It could be doing gratitude. It could be like yoga practices. It could be burning oils. It could be anything that is spiritual. It could be walking in nature and things like that. So anything spiritual. Do you have any of that practice to help your self-care? And if not, would it be something that you consider, or would it be something that you want to do? Or if you do it, does it help you, and how does it help you? So there's so many different areas that we're looking at that can help you with your self-care. And it might not be that, I suppose for us, when being mindfulness trainers, is that it's having a bit of everything. So it's trying to adapt all of these things like a wheel, if you like that, the 8 areas that we're talking about. Lots of people have done this before. So if you write down your 8 areas, you could give them a scale of 1 to 10. So 1 being the worst and 10 being the most. How effective are you in all of them areas? And then what we want to do is we want to have a balance in them. So you do have a bit of physical, and you do have the psychological, and you do have the social, etc., instead of being top heavy in one and nothing in the other, because all of these things are going to help you. And sometimes it might be that some people do prefer the physical exercise more than the spiritual practice, and that's okay. But try and incorporate a little bit of everything will also help. And the last one out of our 8 is the spiritual one. I'm sorry, we've said that, financial one. So how does your finances add to your self-care routine? Like, how weird is that? How does your finances help self-care? But do you put any money aside for self-care? We all, as entrepreneurs, know that we have to save and put a certain percentage in for our accounts and investments and growth and all of that. But do we actually use any of our finances for self-care? So, and how would that impact your business if you did put some aside for self-care? Would you then be gaining more clients, or would you lose them due to stress and burnout because you haven't looked after yourself properly? So maybe it's about having a look at your finances and making sure that you do something for self-care, and that could be investing in self-care, as in spa days or whatever works for you. It could be that you invest in a financial coach. It could be that you invest in a therapeutic coach. It could be that you invest in something that is going to help you in these areas. So looking at your finances as well. So as we know,
like gym membership and that as
yeah,
well.
yeah, gym memberships and all of that stuff as well. So as we know that all of this, self-care is the fundamental part of your business. It helps with your mental and physical well-being. And if you're feeling anxious or you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed, then you know that your mindset and your business will suffer. So it's looking after yourself.
Yeah.
So I'll pass over to Christine and she can do the next bit, the last bit that we've got to talk about.
The eight areas, that's the, and what you was talking about, that's the wheel of life, isn't it? So a lot of people you might have done that.
Yeah.
I know that I've done it a lot of times. And do you know what? All of them areas is something that I'm working on still as well. It's ongoing, isn't it? It doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter how much you earn, it doesn't matter what you do for business. It's all relatable, and it's something that you continue working on, because obviously if there was something that you was to do regular, like every kind of maybe quarter of the year or something, you might find dips and you don't realize it, and it might be like, I don't consistently meditate, and that's also okay. It doesn't mean that you have to, but it might over time not doing it, and then not doing it even more and more and more. Do you know what I mean? There could be like a dip, and then I'll be like, oh, maybe I need to do a little bit of that. And so it's quite interesting to do. And I think you can actually just kind of get them online and print them off and color them and do what you want.
It's a really good tool to be able to use to what's the word I'm looking for? Track. Yeah, track.
Measure. Yeah, definitely.
Because we've talked about it before, haven't we? Because even though we're mindfulness trainers and we know what we're talking about and we do it, but there are times that, like Christine said, that I don't meditate as well, and it doesn't mean that we don't know how to do it or we haven't got time. We just don't do it. But then you can see the dip, can't you? And I suppose all of this awareness.
I did one the other day and I really enjoyed it, and then I haven't continued doing it, and it's only like a little one, do you know what I mean? So it's just interesting, like we're all kind of and it comes down to self-discipline. I wrote here, because I've got my notes like Nicki, and I just quickly put self-discipline because I didn't want to kind of interrupt Nicki, and I thought I'll see kind of what else she talks about, because in a lot of the areas, so like exercise, spiritual, whatever you do financially to support yourself, and that it all comes down to self-discipline, doesn't it? So what I just then said, and then Nicki was echoing, basically I was like, we basically just explained the word that I'm going to say, which is self-discipline. And it really is self-discipline. So we're just going to talk about kind of some of the benefits of self-care, which obviously over the talks that we do over the kind of like the next few months, all of it is kind of benefits to your well-being, and we'll kind of overlink within self-care as well. So obviously self-care is about allowing you time, and that's okay to do that. Like, you're allowed to have time out. So that might be that you take that day off, or you take that week off, or afternoon off, or you just go and have like 10 minutes cup of tea, or that half an hour to meditate, or you go and do a class. And it's just giving you that time. Like, it's really important, because the more and more you look after yourself and kind of nurture that balance with your like work life and your life generally and your well-being, you'll see like kind of a benefit in how you show up in business. So that's really important. And doing things that what you enjoy. So obviously Nicki's covered like 8 massive areas of our life. So what do you enjoy? Like I enjoy meditating, so I need to do it more often because I do see the benefits of it. And the more you do it, obviously, the better it is. Like Nicki said, I do like exercising, going to the gym, running. Don't run as much. I went and got my bike looked at today, so I need to get that back out. Because that's just gathering dust. But yeah, find like what works for you. What do you enjoy doing? What brings you happiness? Socializing, being around people that make you laugh. And I mean, when me and Nicki are together, we have such a laugh, don't we? And it's just, yeah, like, it's just really important. And then like kind of social networks and networking with them people that support you is also really important. Allowing time to relax, like Nicki said, spa. Oh my god, I'd love to go to a spa. I really would. Spa weekend. You was making me think about it. I went a bit dreamy and was like, oh, spa. Although I do go to the spa in my gym,
Yeah,
but
not the
I know
same.
I went yesterday and today actually. But a spa weekend or spa day is completely different because you have a bit of treatment, don't you? And you do nice. And so it's really important, like, because it also made me think I love my pots of money. So I'm like, oh, I need a self-care one. Don't have a self-care one. And that might be because, like, I'm really lucky. I don't pay for my hair because my sister's my lovely hairdresser. But like things like that, getting your hair done and getting your nails done, or whatever little things like that that you like doing, costs money, doesn't it? So it's like kind of then budgeting. So then you're not like, oh, I want to go and get my hair done, but then you haven't got kind of the funds for it. So self-care pot, I love it, Nicki. And obviously taking time out, it helps you recharge. So this is why it's really important to have that time off with family, friends, and not work 24/7 constantly every day, all the time, because you need to have that break. You really do. It's really important. Like I was saying, that I feel I'm going through kind of some mixed emotions, that I feel relaxed, but I also feel guilty and disappointed that I've not done much over the summer holidays because I'm not at school, and I feel like I've wasted it. But at the same time, I feel really rested, and it was probably what I needed, because I think over the last kind of couple of years, it's just been really challenging. And I think in the time that I was at school, actually physically at school, and I think the children felt this and all of the staff felt it. It just, I don't know, it was just weird. And it was just like, go, 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 go. And I think everyone was like, was definitely ready to break up, and everyone like needed that. So you really do need to take that time. I've slept loads. I've had like afternoon naps, and I'm kind of making the most of it. I think when I go back, I'm going to be like trying to find a corner somewhere, and so I can have a little nap. Boundaries, obviously Nicki spoke about boundaries. I think that's really important. It comes in with self-discipline, doesn't it? Boundaries for yourself,
Yeah,
boundaries so you stick to your habits and your routines, but also boundaries for yourself with others, so your clients, and obviously like family, friends. It's having them boundaries. Like you have your boundaries, that's your time. This is like kind of my time to do what I'm going to do. And then obviously you have to have boundaries with other people, as well as yourself. um I think I've touched on, is there anything else that you want to?
I was going to go back and say about the benefits of self-care as well. Also
Yeah,
brings out the creative side. It enables you to, and I don't know, it enhances new ideas, doesn't it? Do you know when
yeah,
you have the
yeah.
benefits
And
of
I've seen that quite a lot on social media, like of people that have shared like that they're away, or they was away, and even though they took time off, actually a lot of kind of ideas came to them, and they was like thinking, oh, this and this that they could do. And there's a lot of things that they're kind of now working on in the background because they've had all of these kind of ideas and that. So
does
yeah,
it definitely improves your yeah, your creativity having
yeah,
self-care. Also
yeah,
it releases happy chemicals, it releases endorphins. When we release endorphins, then lots of different things come to us. We're in that happy
higher
place.
energy,
Yeah, energy.
happier. Yeah, definitely.
And another thing I was going to say before you continue is that the importance of self-care and the benefits of self-care as well. And I'd done a post on this the other day that 1 hour's rest or 1 hour of self-care equals 3 hours of productivity. Just think how more productive you will be after having an hour of self-care.
Yeah, and if you've done that regular,
Yeah.
couple of times a week or daily, or an hour might be a lot kind of daily, I don't know, it depends on your work. Me and Nicki have like a couple of business that we're working on, so sometimes we're in kind of a day business when we're at school, and then we work on blossoming kitchen. So it's all of you know what your kind of like your situation is, so you've got to find what works for you. We're always here to support, but people have to find their own ways in how long they meditate for, what kind of meditation they do, what exercise they do. If you do, you need to make these choices. We're just here to kind of support and guide you, and remind you, I guess, in this the range of things that you can do to look after your well-being and your mental health. Also, with everything that we've kind of covered, it can open up, like with like when you're kind of doing this and looking after yourself and the self-care and like the in like the happy chemical, sorry, obviously it opens up can't get my words out, other opportunities as well, and it gives you the chance to connect with other people that might open like new opportunities, and like you could create like new exciting things in your business, or that connection that like me and Nicki, like we then met each other through our play therapy and became in a partnership. So there's all different things that you just don't know in who you connect and what you're kind of open to, because I think if we wear certain like glasses, I can't think of the saying, like do you know what I mean? It's having that different perspective and taking them glasses, or seeing with a different lens, isn't it? The wording.
Either wearing rose tinted glasses is one of them that comes to mind, or seeing things from different lenses.
Yeah. So do you know what I mean? That's what kind of like all of this gives you, that kind of opportunity to do. So is there anything else? Has anyone got any questions? I can see people kind of coming on and off. I'm not too sure if it's Stanislava that is just on. I can see that she's tagged everyone to watch this, so there might be people that come back and watch this on replay. So if you have any questions, or you relate to any of this, or you've got any other ideas, or what do you do, if you want to share with us, like what do you do for your self-care, that would be really good in the comments, and we will get back to you. So is there anything else that you want to add, Nicki?
No, just think it's fairness and doing what's right for you, but making sure that you have self-care, because there's so many benefits to it, and as entrepreneurs, business owners, it is a absolute must.
Stanislava says that she tries to have a balance, so, and that's what it is about, isn't it? It's finding what works for you and having a balance across all the areas that Nicki covered, and just what brings you joy, because it could be different to someone else, so we can't all do the same things. So so thank you for having us. Like I said, if you watch this on replay, let us know. And if you've got any questions or anything you want to add, or let us know what you do for your own self-care, that would be great. And we look forward to hearing from you. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.